We welcome Susan here. Susan Schwartz is with us. Mm, mm, what can I say? I would love to talk with the really well-known, experienced Jungian analyst with us, uh, who
Go
will be
ahead.
talking about. We will be talking about fathers and daughters. And I would like to say to everybody here, there will be participants who will be coming. Maybe in 15 minutes and 20 minutes they will come and they can write their comments, but I would like you to have your comments and your questions, and I will take them after 1 hour. Maybe I will read
Good
them and
idea.
we'll see what
Yes,
we will see how it goes.
yes. It's a
Mm,
good thing.
yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Mm. We have 1.5 hour, but
Yes,
Susan is open for more. We will see.
we will see.
We'll see about that. And yes, what more? And I said that before, but we have Alexandra here. There will be recording. Everyone can go whenever you have to go. Then you go. And there will be recording on YouTube, and there will be subtitles, power subtitles to that. So if you don't understand, you have to live with that and and get it after that.
Okay.
Mm. Susan, you wrote 4 books. Is that true?
The fifth is coming out.
The fifth is coming up about narcissism and love.
No, no, that's the fourth. The fifth is going to be fathers and sons.
Wow, I didn't
Mhm.
know that. Wow, good. I am a mother of a son, so it's perfect. I love it.
Good.
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 And we get this book newly published in Polish, Nieobecny Ojciec. This is absent father effect for daughters, and your book. And this is very beautiful cover here in Poland. Everyone who don't have this book, I really recommend that. It's a publisher house Raven. Maybe someone is probably here today also, so good from that. And I invited Susan to our community, and we meet often, like once a month, maybe here. I And I believe because I believe we need a woman in Polish community also. We need a woman who knows herself. We need more women who know themselves. And so I would like you, people here, I'm talking to listeners here, to just really try to have this conversation like our webinars, like more like engage with the presence. We are going to talk much about absent fathers, and engage with the presence, like really get involved with the presence here, because you can get some insights, then you can get something from this topic. This is evening on Friday, 7 p.m., and soon it will be 100 people here who are going to listen to us. Then take something from this conversation, please. Really, I really mean it that you, you get involved with the presence. Oh, that's my advice for people here. And Susan, when I prepared myself to our talk, I was
Yes.
thinking about the first question to you.
Okay.
And then in my head, there were thoughts about mothers, like my mother, mother complex, great mother archetype, mothers in Poland. And I was thinking, where is the father? Is it
Mhm.
something you maybe have in analysis in
Yes.
your office?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I think that you got straight into it.
Mm,
And let me just add a bit to what you had said. Because absence, if we think about absence, to me, it's like, we have a cup. You just have a cup right there. So you have a cup, and in that cup it's empty. There's nothing in it. But there really is the possibility of its presence and being filled in the absence. So that's the positive side of absence, how each of us are going to fill it for our inner selves. But you did exactly what every woman, I'll say woman, but men do it as well, who come into my office. I say, what about your father? And they're onto their mother. You just did it. And therefore, we can say, how has this happened? What went on? So when I say, well, you just said one sentence on your father, is that the only thing you've got to say? The answer is sadly yes. Yes. And the reason is he wasn't there. Where was he? Well, he might have been working. They might be divorced. He might have forgotten about his daughter. He might not know how to talk to her. He might have, well, sadly, he might be at war. Okay, that's part of our realities. So he's gone for a variety of reasons. And the daughter learns, and he might be introverted. That's what people also say. They make a bunch of excuses, many excuses. And I say, why do you let him off the hook? He did not come to your games. He didn't see you dance. You didn't talk to him about growing up or what it felt like to have your body change. What happened as you were growing, and where was he? Yes, he might be present physically, but emotionally not there. And why? Because he never learned from his father. Here we have transgenerational issues. He didn't learn how to relate. Maybe he didn't learn how to relate with his mother, but we're just focused on the father. So if we follow it back generations, how did that father learn to talk emotionally, be sensitive, be aware, be appreciative of his daughter as she grew? He usually didn't learn it. However, I don't think that he should just get off the hook for that. I think it means that he needs to learn to relate, to be present, to honor his daughter, however old she is, because he also will learn about himself. So I've said many things within this. Transgenerational excuses we learn to give for the father not there, the inability for the father to relate, which is not a good situation. And the other thing is the sorrows that the daughter has carried about having no father reflect her. So she does not see in the eyes of the father. The father is also a personal father. He is a collective father. He is a psychological father. Who are the forefathers of psychoanalysis? Freud and Jung, who did not have good relationships with their fathers. So who writes about the father? No one. Very few. Hardly any. More now.
That's true.
Yeah. So I've gone on. I expanded your
Good, very
comment
good. But
far.
do you think that we need mothers to allow daughters to go to fathers?
You just said the problem. It's not up to the mother to allow anything or teach the father how to be a father. It's up to the father to reach out to his daughter. Otherwise, we've got the mother doing the same thing that she's always had to do, which is run the emotional story. And what happens? The blame goes to the mother. Mother was this, mother was that. We all have these stories. Mother was, mother was. Do we have father? Not so many. And I also think that even though we have different cultures, there are some similarities and some major differences. So I want to know all of them. What are the similarities? What are the differences? Because each culture has got an idea of the father, right? The father.
In Poland, I was thinking also about that, and we have different cultures, but and I live in Norway, and we have another culture here with fathers. In a
Yes.
way, that's true. But I was thinking that your title, Father Desire, Father Wounds.
Yes.
When I think about Father Desire, and you say in the book, you say about Father Desire for love and so on. It sounds good. Father Desire in English, like, nice. But when I take it to Polish, I will say it to Polish people, pragnienie ojca, pragnienie miłości ojca. Co nam to robi? Pożądanie, dokładnie, pożądanie, ale też pragnienie. Nie? Jakby and I said it in Polish, and in Polish we almost immediately feel shame creeps us out a bit. Yes, it's creepy. It almost feel we all yeah, I know, right? I love it that you're here. I love it, and I love this presence. That's why I thought that we need the woman who will say, "What desire for love of the father? Normal,
Normal.
normal
Yeah,
should be
but you
normal."
see,
Huh?
yeah, But the way you said it, I
Mm.
don't know one word. Well, I know one word of Polish,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but and I've been to Poland, thank goodness,
Mm.
many times. Yes, but besides that, the way you said it, it's as if one should not desire a father
Mm-hmm.
in a healthy eros way, so that the eros and erotic in the woman and the daughter is healthily encouraged.
Yes.
The problem, the sadness, is when a father will not honor the daughter and instead will call her horrible names when she is 12 and 13 or 10, and she is developing into herself. He can't handle her energy. What we want is the desire to really be a good energy that becomes desire to be, to grow in erotic, eros related energy ways, not creepy desire,
Yes.
healthy desire. And the father wounds are the wounds of the father, but also how he wounds the daughter.
Mm.
And most daughters jump over the wounds. They deny that he hurt them when he didn't come to the prize or the game or the honor. They excuse him. They
And
won't excuse their mother,
mm,
but they excuse their
and
father.
they deny desire for dependency because of
Right.
dependency needs and so on. Yeah, they denied this too.
If you are not seen correctly in the eyes of your father,
Mm.
then you're going to be damaged. So you want to be seen totally for who you are and all of your strengths and energies. You don't want a father who will say, "Who do you think you are?"
Mm.
Or how about the other side of it? "I am the most wonderful one. You can't go beyond me. You must stay a daughter. You
Mm.
must stay young." Why do they call the Puella figure a daddy's girl? Why does hardly anybody write about that? Did Jung write about Fathers and daughters? No.
No,
He
not
had
so much.
one essay on fathers. Now, I'm not putting Jung down. He had a lot of things to do,
Mm.
but he had four daughters.
Yes, he had four daughters.
So what happened? He's not really the expert here on fathers and daughters, but he does show us an example of the father who was busy. He was in the world.
Mm.
What did he do with his daughters? I don't know. I mean, nobody really knows. How can we tell? But it gives us an example of what we either want to do or not want to do. And don't we have to move on beyond the, so this relates, the glass ceiling for daughters
We should.
put up.
But I'm thinking about that. Women often say that mm, maybe they had a father when they were children, like they
That's
could
right.
play and they were cute, and he was there and he was telling about the world and stories and so on. But then when they got to this teenager age, he uh, he is angry, or they become daughters become invisible, or he's angry with them and calling them names and so on. So why is that? What's going on there?
He's angry. This is where Jung, I would agree. The incest in a
No.
psychological way
Mm,
is what the father cannot handle.
mm,
And so he is angry, comes out in calling her horrifying names,
mm,
telling her her shorts are too short, her this is too tight. She shouldn't wear her makeup like that. He'll put her, she shouldn't be so smart in school.
mm,
So he can't handle her own excellence and her potential. Because, when you're teenage, you've got your life ahead of you. So if you're at the father's age, you've lived a certain amount of it. If he's unhappy, does he throw it onto the daughter? So I give you an example of this. I don't know if you've ever read the British writer Virginia Woolf.
yes.
She's really excellent. I'm sure she's translated into Polish. She has a beautiful quote about her relationship with her father. I can't say it exactly, but she was an amazing writer. And her father, when she was a teenager, wanted her to make him happy. He was a very depressed man. His wife had died, and he every single day wanted her to make him happy. Talk with him,
Mm,
take a walk with him, go here with him, go there with him. And her description of him was of a tyrant, a dictator, someone who was depressed, and she had to, as if, give him blood transfusions. She didn't say that, but that's the implication.
mm,
So here's this very talented young woman, teenager, who was not seen by the father. He wanted her to see him.
mm,
And how many females continue that in their lives? They constantly find partners, could be male or female, who want them to pay attention,
mm,
but the gaze back is not fulfilling. And that is part of the woundedness that can happen to the daughter. She actually doesn't realize it enough because culturally, it's like under the rug.
mm,
Yeah. But the issue is she'll become destructive to herself. You can see it. I also mention it in the book. Our bodies, our bodies. How many females cut at their bodies, castrate themselves, psychologically castrate themselves? That's not a good idea. I don't like how I look. I don't like this. I don't like that. It's always I don't like. Is that? And I always have to lose 10 pounds. So it's a continual castration at the body self as well. especially when the father was not there or was there in a very harsh way. So,
Why is he so important with this body thing? Hmm? Because
it's a good
we say that the mother, that the body is from the mother, and
point.
we look at, no, I love it.
You know what? Let's put it this way.
Yes, say.
Because our world is a world where family structures are in a variety of ways.
Mm.
Whoever the parents are, they want to imbue the daughter with pride in her body, health in her body, receptivity to herself. But this doesn't happen. And fathers too early, it's kind of an old way of thinking, but too early abandon their daughters because they're threatened by their own incestuous feelings. I mean, she's cute. She looks great. She's got good energy. Hopefully she has it her whole life.
Mm.
Hopefully she has it. But if it's too threatening, she will learn unconsciously. Tamp down your energy. Don't be all you are. I wrote the book because it's a sad story, and I wanted to impart uh, hope from the sad story. It's
Mm.
like get used to absence, but get used to presence. Same thing.
And we don't have even good fairy tales about fathers and daughters.
Ah, good point. Do you know I have looked online for a good father fairy tale? If you Google, where are the good fathers in fairy tales?
Mhm.
The answer is no. The answer is there are no good fathers. They are all deceptive, poor, mean, uh, incestuous,
In
castrated.
Bluebird, there is no father in Bluebird story. In
Uh-huh.
Harmless Girl, there is father who cuts her
Hands off.
hands
And
off.
that represents incest, actually, in the sense of psychological, he's taking off her creativity,
Mm.
her well-being, her
Mm.
out in the world. Bluebeard, it's a great example when you don't have a father. Bluebeard kills women. So if you don't have a good image, relationship, father, nothing there, will you treat yourself the way Bluebeard treated all the women?
Mm. Mm.
Just killed them. There was no reason.
Mm.
So what happens is it becomes a predator within. That's Bluebeard.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, you're right. So the question of no father figure and um or gone or not related, we come up with the point that it would be best if there could be a good father somewhere. Maybe it's a teacher. Maybe it's somebody down the street. Maybe it is a mother figure who's got a good father in her head. So you see, the mother also carries how is the father? If she doesn't like him, she's there for money, security, she's trapped.
Mm.
It's going to come across to the daughter, and she won't carry a good father image. And the other possibility is even if you've got not a good father, like in all the fairy tales symbolically, she leaves. She
Mhm.
never she never goes back, and she finds again symbolically a partner. So it's like an inside partner she's able to find even though she had terrible experiences.
Mm. We agree on that. That's even if you have your
Yes.
story, your sad story in your life, you need to go there. I believe that in this book of Sylvia Pereira, Scapegoat Complex. I don't know if you know. There was this story about the princess who is who is not listening to her father, and she choose starvation, and she chose to go out and not have all his money and treasures, and she made it. She made it really good.
You see? So I think that the answer is really finding your own good figures inside
Mm.
and really standing solidly for yourself. You can also see or find good figures in your dreams, in your active imagination. So you don't falsely create, but you access what's inside anyway. It's natural. It's not so many women that I've dealt with, they say, how come I was able to find a partner who was so good? And I say, because that's in you. You have that inside. I think in all this, we want to access what our strength is. So even though there have been difficulties, the point is that you've gotten through them and you've listened to yourself and you've become yourself and you keep moving on.
It's the same with the orphan archetype.
Yes.
The orphan means fatherless. I didn't know that, but then I think, oh wow, I write the paper now for my exam, so about the orphan archetype, and I was like, oh my God, fatherless, really? Wow, and um, and the orphan archetype is about going through what you got. How did you get here, and what you got. You are alone, but then you need to go through this, and you need to go to the heroine part, hero part.
Yes, you do. But Jung has this quite interesting comment. I don't remember where it is, but he uses it in relationship to introversion. And he says when you're by yourself,
Mhm.
you really find out who you are. So when you sit with yourself, your dreams, your active imaginations, they reconfirm who you are over and over and over. And that's how you gain your strength. This is me. I am is the point. Not just, and the I am part then has the energy to go after what you want and create out of what you didn't have. So that's the presence out of the absence. You
Mm.
create what you didn't have. That's in fact, isn't that our challenge? All of us to create from what we did not have. One, you have to realize the loss and you realize the mourning in it and you sorrow it and you have to wish. I wish, dot, dot, dot. Okay, go for your wishes and see if you can get it. Now, going for your wishes, isn't that desire?
It is. I'm thinking about this cup. This was good metaphor from you, and I'm thinking, okay, if it's here, oh, limited edition of Queen Isabel collection, perfect. Here it says that, perfect. And okay, we have that, and we have daddy issues because we have this Puella. We have to talk about Puella archetype for people here,
We
but.
will.
Hmm.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, and we have this daddy issues. We have this girl, and she goes with her empty cup, and she looks for her father
Yeah.
in the man. And she's like, maybe you can. Oh, I would like to have some chocolate here. I would like to have some cup of tea. Maybe you could give me some water, please. And it's like that. And it's really,
Mhm.
if we don't stop here and fill it with uh,
That's right.
wherever we have,
Yes.
then we are like that, don't you think?
I would agree with you. You
Mm.
mentioned something about dependency earlier.
Mm.
And I think it's how do we use dependency in a healthy way? We are all dependent on each other, but that dependency, which appeals to somebody else to do it for us, no, do it yourself and be with others. Be with in this kind of mutual we are with with way. And if you want chocolates, go get them yourself. Know you can do it, as well as you can also ask for help, but you can also do it. So you've got both. So it is, again, to access the strength. I think that's what's been sneaking underneath is that the father patriarchal cultural traditions that we all have, each in a different way. Poland is different than the United States, and Norway might be different even then. We have different histories, different generational ways, etc. But in all of them, there has been a diminution of the female and of the daughter.
Mm.
They could buy us, right? We were buyable, sellable in the Old Testament. You sell, or in the Middle Ages, you sell your daughter to get land.
That's true. But this Puella archetype, your
Yes,
another book here. I
yes,
love this
that's
book.
right.
I really do. And mm, and you say it there, and it's. I believe it's also in Poland. Very mm, mm, typical to think that Puella archetype mm, has not good PR, if you know what I mean. It's
Terrible.
It's terrible. But we need this part of ourselves. We need it to go to the core, to the self, to the. We need it. It's.
Totally. But the Puella archetype is usually very much put down in the sense of you oftentimes hear in the Jungian world, she's a Puella. It means she's not able. However, someone that I worked with, a woman in her, I don't know, 70s somewhere, Puella, energy, innovative, smart, edgy, yeah, imaginative, all kinds of stuff. Well, she got Parkinson's, which is very sad.
Mm.
And what she did with it, though, here's the value of the Puella energy, which pushes the envelope, does different things. She became very oriented on, well, she always was, but what to exercise. How would she do this? Listen to the dreams. Keep going. Allow for being unhappy. Deal with life and death. Keep facing things. And she was able to because she had Puella energy
Mm.
from her whole life. We all do. It's how are we going to use it? Your whole life. It can be really wonderful and very creative. One should be young, whatever that is, your whole life, right?
Mm.
Are you supposed to give it up at age 15? No, no. You're supposed to have your mind go and your life go and your energy go and your style of being be there your whole life. So
Mm.
that to me, that's Puella, but she's been very put down. Do you know no one wrote about Puella, period.
That's
No
true.
book. Yeah. Uh-uh. And anyone who has written on the eternal child writes on the puer. So once again, we have a very male oriented story,
We do.
just to be aware of it.
Yeah, that's true. But what's the dark side of Puella? She has
Uh,
the shadow of what?
She has a shadow she doesn't want to look at.
Mm.
And that's the hard part of Puella, because she always has to be perfect, good, magnificent, fantastic, and get every applause there is.
So
It's
this
a
is not
hard,
a problem. She is mm,
ah,
so young. This is a problem that she hates failures. Failures.
that's,
Mm.
that's right. And there is a piece I spoke about in the book, and I think this is part of it, that has that narcissistic piece
Mm.
that is very singular. Because if you, to get close and really intimate, you have to be able to handle that sometimes you don't look so great.
Mm.
Sometimes it's kind of a mess. Sometimes you might fail. She can't stand it. So this kind of idealized self has to be there all the time.
Mm.
She cannot tolerate shadow anything. And if you can't have a shadow, you're awfully flat. It's dangerous.
Mm.
It's dangerous. So what you want, the Puella wants to be able to balance the need, the healthy narcissism, which, yeah, sense of self, etc., with a part that is maybe afraid of being seen as real. So there's a very sad piece there as well. I mean, I speak about the Negredo melancholia because there's a sad side to people who want to only be young. They can't commit. They're always living. Where are they always living? They're living in a very small space.
That's true.
They don't take up enough room. And so the challenge of the Puella, or to her, is to be able to expand and not be afraid of the world.
Mm.
Yeah.
And this is a kind of circle we have, but we need to expand it because when we think about that, I think that okay, she needs to be, um, she needs her courage here. She needs to
Yes.
show herself, and she needs to be there, and she needs to be in touch with the world and see how it changes with her, and she changes, and so on. But then she's not courageous because she didn't have a father. She didn't have someone who hold her back and said, "You go, girl. You, whatever happens, you come back at home, and we will figure it out." She didn't have that. Maybe no father at home. How can she feel it now?
Because she fills it with her um, uh, projects, what she wants to do. Each success adds to, I've got your back. So she builds from
Mm.
within the healthy father who would say, I've got your back. I'm holding you. You're good. Go for it. And she learns better messages inside, messages which say, you're okay. You can do it. You're strong enough. It's all right if you trip a little bit. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're okay. And so many people don't have good messages that
Mm.
tell them they're all
Mm.
right. And once those can come in from so many places, teachers, jobs, partners, friends, but to really let them in,
To really-
it's not so
Mm.
easy. It's not so easy. It's a process. That's what we're saying. It's a process of time that it takes. And I'll tell you one other, please, that I think, of course, because of what I do, but I really think that as one goes into oneself quite deeply in an analytic process, you really find out who you are in so many ways. And you really learn to face yourself with all of your beauty and all of your flaws. And it's an experience of being where that internal, you're okay and you can do it, is there. That gives you hope, you know.
Intimacy is really challenge in our lives, I believe, without our lives without fathers.
Um, but I agree with you. But isn't it also our cultures are very oriented to social media without the depth. Now, social media can definitely have depth and truth, but a lot of people don't use it for depth and truth. They use it for photoshopping their faces or their bodies or whatever. So I think that our culturally, we've really got a lot to learn about how to strengthen ourselves and get closer to people. It is so paradoxical that we can be, look at this, we can do all these miles or kilometers between us.
Mm.
It's amazing, it's wonderful.
Mm.
But also, people have a terrible time getting close. Who teaches us? What do we see in movies or videos or books? Do some relate to intimacy, but many not. We could also say, why is narcissism so prevalent? It really means Narcissus, oh my gosh, he looked in the pool, he didn't even know it was him.
Mm.
So he never saw who he was, and he ignored Echo, and she became anorexic.
Mm.
It's a terrible story about bodies and people who do not relate. And she reaches out, reaches out, reaches out, and he's looking away in his pool. Never, hardly hears her, doesn't see her. Here's intimacy. Is this our world? Where we are not seen, really? Or do we know how to be seen? That's also something.
Is it about that to be intimate with someone, I need to know first my own essence. I need to know my own truth, and then I can be with you and give you access to my world.
Exactly. I think you're right. But I also wonder if you can't do both at the same time.
Mm.
So you learn, so you don't have to have yourself together
Mhm.
to have an intimate relationship or enjoy intimacy, but you work at it as you're learning about yourself. And then you also learn about others. So the process of self-knowledge is not just
Mm.
self and other. Otherwise, you're cheating.
Mm.
It's intimate just means you sit in a corner and be an introvert. It won't work.
You say often that sentence, we learn to grow and to stay. I like this, to stay. I heard this on some podcast. We learn to grow and to stay. And I thought about that. We often grow and maybe can go out and reach out to someone, and we learned to ask for help and to go and be ourselves. But then we have this stop. How to um, how to be there with that, all those defenses coming when
Right.
we see, oh, I was too close, error. There's this, do you understand what I mean? It's like staying,
Yes,
it's really terrible for a daughter without father, I think.
I would, but you see, we could turn it around and say, if she had a father, then the father would say, it's okay, let's learn from that situation.
Mm.
He wouldn't say, yeah, it's okay when it's not okay. But he would say, let's learn from what you're feeling. Let me talk with you about what's happening to you. I'm here. I'm here for you to learn with. Because otherwise we learn, uh-oh, I said the wrong thing. I feel awful. Now I have to go home and hide. That doesn't work at all. So if we've got a father who said, I see you're in pain. Here's the wounds. I see you're in pain. Let me talk to you about it. How can we deal with it? Not deny it. How can we deal with it? Let us learn from it. And from that, the girl will say, wow, yes, I was respected. I was seen. How many people are so uncomfortable being seen because they didn't get seen?
And they are absurdly longing for that. There's this,
Totally.
oh my God.
Yeah. And is that part of narcissism as well? That in fact that I want the whole world to come and applaud me. Please see me. I'll put myself on, TikTok or do whatever, Instagram, whatever the deal is, so that everyone will see me. It's not driven by I want to express knowledge and get back. It's driven by I have a tremendous need to be seen because I never was. It's not the way to fill it. That cup doesn't get filled if you do
No,
it
we
right.
are not going with our cup and saying,
No,
please see my cup, because it will not fill it up. We need
it will not.
we
It
need
will not. No, and the other piece, of course, I'm going to go back to this
Mhm.
as well, because I think it's important. The other thing is that a perfect body will not do it. So, because we need to talk about bodies.
But do we have a perfect body at all?
Who has one? I
Where
have
is
no idea.
that? Where is
I
that?
have no idea. I don't know what a perfect body is, but if you ask anyone,
Mm.
they will tell you. I mean, I don't know, people in my office, when I ask them, it's somebody else's body, it's not theirs.
Mm.
Theirs. So if you have a father who will say to you, you look great, not phony, you look great. You look lovely. That is, what a great outfit. I'm so glad you did good in school. Honoring the mind-body connection,
Mm.
we learn to feel more solid inside of ourselves. But most of us learn, I'm not good enough. Didn't do it.
Mm.
I don't weigh enough. I don't look right. I have to have this size. It's a continual being upset at who one is. It's very sad. And I say about the body again, because I wonder how many people look at Jungian work or therapeutic work as a head trip, not a head and body trip.
Yes, in your Espuela book, you write that the body also registers what is ignored in the psyche.
It does.
Mm.
How did that strike you, though?
Because
What
it
did it?
it was about this Olivia case, and I was thinking that why does this Susan
Yeah.
writes about bodies as much in this in this book? I was in my process, and I was
Yes.
thinking, yes, because when you um, I was thinking about that when we don't have this connection to our inner figure, inner father, we don't. It's like 50% of our power is off. We are unplugged. And so I see it like that then you don't see yourself as you are. So
Mm-mm.
then the body image also is like maybe you see in the mirror, you look at in the mirror, but what do you see? It's like
You don't.
you don't. Mm.
No. Usually, what happens is if you weren't seen, that's what we talked about earlier.
Mm.
If you didn't get the healthy gaze from a father, then when you look in the mirror, this is what people report. They don't see themselves. So they see this piece of hair or this clothes, or they put something on their eyes, but they don't see the total self in the mirror, but they don't see the total self anyway. And if you don't look, you're not going to see. And if you're avoiding yourself, something's going to happen to your body. It's difficult. You can't just say one equals the other. But if you don't pay attention to the psyche, the body talks. You don't pay attention to the body, excuse me, the psyche talks. So you might as well pay attention to both because you don't want to get sick. I'm not going to say that if you're ill, it's because of some psychosomatic old description. No, I'm just saying there's a message. Pay attention symbolically to what the message means. If one part of the body goes off, what does that part mean to you? What is hindering you? Is there an obstacle in the way? Is it going to show you how you can cope? Is it going to help? Not look at it negatively. Just look at it.
Just look at it.
Yes.
Mm.
But I wanted to just ask you a question. Why was it that you were surprised about the body inclusion in the... Why? Wouldn't you expect it?
I think that I was I think about mothers that we also in analysis and psychoanalysis we often hear and listen and read about the mother is mirroring an infant, and the
I
mother
know.
is containing everything and emotionally being there for this little creature, and
Yeah.
so on and so on. And then woman has a body from her mother, and they are almost together, and they have to get their body from their mother, and then we have this father here, you know.
Yes, that's right.
Hmm?
Yeah, but so I'm going to add a couple of things.
Mhm.
I don't know. This is my opinion, but when we begin, even when the fetus is conceived, there is male and female elements. There's two elements.
Mhm.
So don't we want both of those elements to participate from the beginning of life? So the father does not have to be male. I mean, whatever the family structure is, but you want both, all, however many, to participate, not to be absent, to know that their effect is there from the beginning. In utero, the body of the father has an effect on the baby because the baby is picking up from the environment. So the baby will pick it up. I also wonder, I've always wondered this, I have no idea, but who wrote all of that? That it's just up to the mother to influence the development of the child. Yes, the baby grows within her. She has a huge impact, but the father does too. He doesn't just come around. What is the classical thing? Introducing the child to the world, as if the mother can't do that. Come on. What about the father also being a lover, being sweet, teaching about bodies in a healthy way? So maybe we can take those books and go, there's a point to that viewpoint. But maybe there is also a point to the inclusion of the father from the absolute beginning of life. Not the person who says he helps me. No, no, he doesn't
We have that
help.
in Poland also. He helps me, yes.
Helps me. He helps me. But wait a second. He's his baby too. So what do you mean he helps?
Mm.
Do you see? He's then put second. And what that's an absent father. Second. He ought to be right there.
And you in this absent father effects on daughters book, I was wondering how you saw this elimination of the father. You write about that woman with this negative complex maybe, and her story that she needs to, maybe some of them needs to eliminate their father. What do you mean by that? It's a good one.
Yeah, that's on an extreme, but I believe in extremes
Mhm.
because they show us the yeah, the option that we
Mhm.
don't like to look at. I think that sometimes, and everyone knows this, I'm sure, some fathers you don't want to make up with.
Mhm.
No, no, that's what I mean. Some, it doesn't matter. It's not about forgiveness because that doesn't fit. The point is awareness, consciousness, respect, and love.
Mm.
That's not forgiveness.
Mm.
And there are some people who can't do it, won't do it, and therefore, no. It's really a hard line, but that's all right. I
Mm.
take it anyway. Because I think there's something that psychological development means you get along with your parents. I don't think so. I
Mm.
think it means you develop yourself. You don't have to hate them, but it's like maybe they weren't so good.
Mm.
Maybe they, what's the line I always hear? They did as good as they could. I say, I don't think so.
Mm.
No, they didn't. No.
No, they didn't. Not always.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And so that's what I'm referring to. There are some times where the issue is the development of self will mean that you, like in the fairy tales, you don't go home again. It's not true with everyone, but
Mm.
it is true with some.
We can
And
also see that in dreams. I remember in 2022 I had the first workshop online with women about fathers, and and they came. It came 400 women came to 3 days of going of going to their dad. Really, it's amazing. It's amazing in Poland. But I wasn't known. I wasn't known. But I said that okay, we didn't have so many workshops on that topic in Poland, and I said okay, we do it. We do it really really cheap, just 3 days. Many people, and we had all those visualizations, active imaginations, and I went through this, and they there were many women who had their dreams about I don't know, but maybe even 20 about killing their fathers, or my father died after 3 days of
yep,
workshop, my father died, um,
yep.
or I got a father on a wheelchair to take care of and be done with him, or something like that. Unconsciousness was talking like eruption of dreams like that. It was
Well, it's interesting when you get a group of people together, there is a collective unconscious that is kind of coagulating.
yes.
But you could also say that the death of the father means the death of the way with the father.
Mm.
And it leads to, okay, how are you going to do your life differently? So now how you were with him is dead. How you are going to be is the question.
Mm.
So, in a sense, there's where the death part actually is valuable.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and it was
Mhm.
really good and transformational, but mm, and there were also like like when you gather with this group, and there was a big group, many of them had this synchronicity about like father is calling me right now. Oh, my also. He didn't call for a year, but now he's here. And it was really amazing to see women who were like smiling and cheerful because the father was calling. It's so important.
Well, I think, well, some probably the father should have been calling more,
Mm,
but that is the other piece, I would say.
mm,
And that you don't want to just settle for a crumb.
mm,
You want to go, okay, great that you called me. How do you want to develop this relationship? What do you want to do differently? How can we together form something other than what we had? And that gives a possibility. And then it isn't all on the daughter,
mm,
nor is it all on the father. But let's see how together we can create something else, right?
mm, mm,
But
mm,
not fall for crumbs. Not
mm,
fall for crumbs, because the absent father, one is so used to the absence or expects so little that the point is that if you get a little bit, you
mm,
go, wow, that's fantastic. It is, but it needs to develop and grow. So
mm,
the issue is also, and that was an amazing experience you described.
mm,
So I wonder how, and I'm going to wonder about today as well, how people will take the information, use it. How will it go inside? How will it help or maybe even hinder? Just to know, it's like,
mm,
wow, what does this open up? How will we all dream?
mm.
What will happen? What fathers will text or call?
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah.
brings up so
Mm,
many kind of interesting
mm.
pieces from your example. In other words, what will change or how will any of the information be beneficial? Because that has to do with presence.
Yes, and you have to be aware of what you feel. How
Yeah.
does it feel for you? What do you do with that? But also maybe not so much what you do with that message. You don't have to reply, but you have to be aware of what you feel and what you need and what it does to you. Maybe it's more. Maybe it calls for some awareness mm, about needs, about your needs for
Yeah.
something.
I think you're right. And I would hope that it also sets up the need to reflect more
Mm,
and maybe decide I want to go deeper into self-understanding. I want to, because you can only go so far yourself. It
mm,
just
mm,
you just can't. You come up against the walls of who we all are. That's just reality. And and then people will say, I was stirred and I want to explore more. It's an exploration, which I think is beneficial one's whole life to
mm.
always be exploring and questioning because why, what else are we going to do?
Okay, but in our community, it's um, there is this awareness of father and fatherhood in daughter's life, and they
Yeah.
say, but then they say, and people here also say, okay, but Daria, I am going to my psychotherapy like maybe 3 or 4 years for now.
Yeah.
And we have never
Whatever.
talked, or
Yeah.
maybe once I just said that the father was blah, 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 and we've never talked. And you say, Daria, it's important topic because I say it a lot as I didn't have a father, so I say it a lot. And I am in analysis, of course. But then how can they,
I
outside of
agree.
analytical relationship,
agree.
how can they
Yeah.
transform that
Well,
side?
well, there's the other thing, which is that hopefully we all learn from each other.
Mm.
Okay. So the people who then realize, the analyst or therapist didn't say anything. Then you go to that analyst and therapist and you say, how come you didn't talk about my father? What's going on? And I would say as well,
What I said, we need that energy. You see, people,
yeah,
we need that energy.
yeah, but you know what? Also, um, I've spoken on the father a good bit, and I remember one person who was actually, I thought quite brave, and said it was an analyst, and said, "I don't ask about the father. I am amazed." I said, "Well, good. Be amazed and ask about the father." And what it did was it opened a light bulb. And that person said, I'm going to start asking about the father. So if we don't speak about it,
Mm.
no, we'll put it differently. If we speak about what has been absent, we make it present.
That's true.
So if you're letting anyone here, letting your therapist off the hook, don't bring it up. I always appreciate it when someone says, you didn't ask about this. I go, right, let's do it for sure.
Mm.
And and the other piece is don't let anyone get away with one question. It has to have more and more depth. So you do not let people get away with one time we talk about it and that's the end of the story. No, you persist and persist and persist. And that's how you fill the cup.
I love it. I love it. We need that. That's true. No, that's true. And it also, I think that it's also good and it helps when we often think that, oh, I've talked so much about that. I should
Yeah.
have this worked through and then blah, blah, blah. And so on. But it's boring. But we really do that. We criticize ourselves when we have to go back and back because this mother complex and father complex is like that.
Yeah, however, I think that we can all think about this, which is that what about telling different stories? Why do we repeat the exact same stories? Why don't we bring out other ones? Because the other stories are hiding behind those stories that we have repeated. It's a tricky thing the psyche does. It repeats the old stories ad nauseum. And
Uh,
then we say, oh, that doesn't work because they only ask the same questions. No, no, no. The issue is, why don't you come up with a different answer? So I ask people, how come you're telling that story again? Because we already talked about that story and what's behind that story. So here's the psyche. You see, if you don't have a father, what about if everybody else on the block has a father? Then you feel bad and then you feel shame. Or you go, all those kids don't have a father on the same block. And they go, I don't need a father. Nobody has a father. It's fine. Really? Maybe, maybe not. Let's question it. In other words, question what was accepted as normal.
mm.
Maybe normal isn't normal. And what is normal anyway? And who wants to be normal? I hope nobody, because
Because
there is.
we really in Poland we really have this culture of it's normal we didn't have a father.
I see.
Normal that we didn't feel safe with men. It's normal like that.
Really?
Really.
Well, you know what? Then that's something that really needs to be discussed and talked about because it is very tricky
Mm,
what we consider normal.
that's true.
It limits us. Oh, yeah, I know everybody on my block was beaten. No, they weren't, but maybe they were. And maybe nobody talked about it. You see, what is interesting is what no one talks about.
Yes,
And we need to talk about it.
that's true. That's why.
Because you know what's awful? Secrets.
Mm.
Secrets are terrible because here you hold the secret and you've got it away in your heart somewhere, but you can't ever open the door. And then you're always kind of smashed inside.
Mm.
And then you're not free. That's the awful thing because you're holding the secret. So a secret of, I didn't have a very good father. Mm, maybe that needs to be said. He
Mm.
wasn't very good. And I was sad. And I wished he had been a good father. And it hurt me a great deal. And my desire got a bit damaged.
Mm.
And I don't like that. And I want to express how I feel. And I want to be heard. That's the other thing. Absent father, where's the voice?
Where's the?
Where is our voice?
Mm.
Yeah, there's the puella as well.
Mm.
Where's the voice?
And what I like with working with this father topic in our life is like um, we get so much creativity when we work on that. When we you wrote that sentence, we have to create ourselves as a work of art. I love it because we just just looking on ourselves as a work of art, and that we are able also to co-create, because I don't believe that the ego is
That's
not
right.
creating the no. But what we're talking about the self, but then it's always something new. When you create, you touch something new in you, and then you are really you can really expand, as you say.
I
Mm.
agree with you. Yes, we are a work of art, but how many of us believe that
Mm.
and live that we are, not as if we are, but that we are a work of art? And how many of us each day approach ourselves as a work of art? Not out of some ego trip, but out of connection to really ourself inside. That how we are going to appear is how we are inside. Not so easy,
Mm.
but definitely worth it.
Very.
And okay, the hard thing, and you said about the downside of Puella, we're mixing this a little bit, but um, she doesn't view herself enough as a work of art or only as a work of art, like I'm the greatest.
Yes.
It's a false facade
Mhm.
of Marvel. Yeah. So
Mm. That's true. That's.
yeah.
I was also thinking about about the money. We here in my community we had this project. Woman has money.
Yeah.
I come up with that title, and women said, but woman doesn't have money. How can we say that? How can we say that sentence? And although they have it, um, and it was like, and I was thinking that, okay, what happens there? And we had this queen archetype um, model. We were exploring that, how does this energy works, and so on. But uh, then I was thinking that a woman, queen in her mini empire in her life, needs a father. She had a father before, and
Yeah.
but if she didn't get enough from her father, from this contact and this relationship, then she can become a princess, an only princess, like Puella Shadow, maybe,
Yeah.
or some cruel queen not taking care of herself and her body and her people, and um, And I was thinking that the money it's somehow very connected with the father with daughters.
Yeah, but I also think what you're saying is that it's quite patriarchal.
Mm,
It's very old, sorry,
mm.
where that the a woman is considered she won't make as much money. And sadly, it's actually true
That's also
that she
true.
does. A lot of people, she doesn't make as much money. She doesn't ask for as much money. She has learned to not be a work of art and down downplay her own talents.
And
So,
sometimes they don't want to have more money. That's
oh,
the
I don't think
tricky.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think that's how people get raised. I think we get raised to learn you're less, you won't get paid, accept what you're gonna get. And the man, this is so in the last millennium, it is awful. It is
Mm,
still there that a woman will agree to be less than who she is.
that's true.
That's what money represents: security, safety, economics, status. It represents a million things, and it's not the most important. But if you sell yourself for too little, it is not good. And who sells themselves and learns to sell themselves? Sorry, prostitutes. I'm in service of, it can go a bad space, a very bad space.
Mm,
So I think you're onto something about the money. And she doesn't deserve, yeah, that's the issue. Somebody wrote in the chat about she doesn't deserve. That's the deal. If you accept less, not that you have to be some rich something or other,
mm,
but don't accept less. You're worth all that you are. And
mm.
it would be a shame to say, I don't have money. No, get the money. Find a way. Be yourself. Stand for who you are. That's the money.
What if good girl even doesn't know she is worth more? It's a good question in the comment.
Well, that's why we're talking,
Mm,
because I think somewhere all of us has had that question
mm,
in one way or another.
mm.
Am I worth it?
Am I
Am
right?
I okay? Am I worth it? I, besides money, am I worth it? Yes. The answer is yes, you're worth it. How many generations have told women, daughters, accept what you get? What about not accepting? What about saying, I have something else to offer? I will sell it to you. This is my price. I don't go down. I mean that in a lot of ways. Sorry.
Hmm.
So, yeah. In
Well,
other words,
I love
I will
it.
I will stand for who I am.
Mm,
That is the issue behind The Absent Father, the Puella, the other books I wrote. I will be me, and I'm pleased to be me. I'm not perfect. I don't have to be, but I'm going to put myself out there and see what happens. They're all oriented in a very connect to your real self way. If you don't have a father, it's hard. Impossible? No.
mm, mm.
Possible for sure. Yes.
It's much about ego strengthening also. You need.
Yes.
Mm,
Well, let's put it this way. If we look at a Jungian kind of schema,
mm,
the ego, whoever, that's the I, wants to be strong enough, but it needs to connect to the other personality parts. However we name them, we want them to be in connection, holding hands, knowing each other, dancing together. Yes. Yeah. That's how they do it. Mhm.
Okay. I can open up for questions. If you have any questions, you can write them down here. I don't. How will I know that my male part of psyche is healed?
Well, okay. So, there's a whole debate about Jungian terminology, male, female, animus, anima. You know how much any part is healed by how you really feel about yourself, how you come in your dreams, how you are, what the message is. Is the message telling you you're okay? Is it telling you you're okay, but this part needs some work? Is it telling you go for it? What are they saying? That's how you tell if the parts are healed. If you're having dreams of figures chasing you, coming after you, threatening you, getting into your bed, interfering, telling you you're terrible, know that part is not healed, whatever we call it. But if you might be saying, you know what, I had this awful dream and this figure came in and I told it to go away. I'm not going to agree to anything I don't want to do. That's pretty strong. It's good. You can always tell if parts are healed inside creativity. Your energy is there. Your sense of being, maybe your love, is also flowing in an easier way, also towards yourself. And you would be treating yourself healthily and well.
Mm,
That's how you know healed. Not total healed, but kind of healed.
that's true. We need. We don't have to be healed so soon. We have whole life. We always need some prima materia.
I'll tell you, we always have the prima materia.
Mm. We always,
It's always there every day.
yeah,
What are we going to do? How will I live as fully as possible? That would be the question.
that's true.
Yeah.
Mm. Is it possible to find this good inner father without the therapy?
Well, you're probably speaking to the wrong person because I totally agree in analysis. I think it really helps, not short term, long term.
Mm.
There's my bias because I think it takes a long time to unpeel the layers because you see, the layers are set in place personally, family wise, religion, culture, literature. It's all over the place, it's all over the world. So it's not so easy to unpeel the layers. And we are very tricky with our own defensiveness. So we deny a lot as well. Our needs, etc. I guess you can do it. I just wouldn't recommend it, but I wouldn't say you can't.
Perfect answer. We need those answers here in this community. I sent everyone, but I don't mean that everyone needs to be on in the therapy right now, but someday in their lives when they feel like, okay, I need to take care of myself and find a good therapist and go deeply enough.
I agree. I'm somebody here says a safe person. If you're with someone and you don't feel safe, don't stay. Go away and talk to them and say, you don't feel safe to me. So
Mm.
I need to find somebody else. I also think there's another piece, which is that we go into therapy and analysis if we're curious,
Yes.
curious. And and that we say, I want to heal this hurt. I don't like feeling like this, but the curiosity for knowing ourselves and for really accessing all of our personality, wouldn't we want to know that? And isn't it actually a healthy privilege and need in many ways, but privilege as well, to be able to explore our psyche? Because the more we know of ourselves, the more we might help this world, which needs a lot of help. So, yeah. So it's a personal and a collective opportunity.
Mm.
Mm.
Our souls needs that. That's true. Um, Okay. There are no more questions.
Okay.
Okay. We can we can try to put a stop on here and really, we can try it. We can try to be done in 1.5 hour. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you all hugely. I've kind of seen your messages as they've put into the chat. So thank you. I hope that it was beneficial. If anyone also questions or wants to get a hold of me, you can. Daria's got my email. You can
Mm,
always get a hold of me.
yes.
And I wish you all well. Daria, it was wonderful. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
your
Thank you for your yes from the beginning. You were like open. Yes, we do it. We just do it, and it was amazing and really nice and yes, beneficial. But also, I think that what I said in the beginning, that we need that energy. We need to gather together. Women need to gather together and um, talk about our lives and how can we go and grow. And I love that.
Yes, well, we all need to be able to grow however we do it. And again, I think it's so interesting. You'll all see, was there an effect from this? It's just interesting to know what we carry from our experiences. I
Yes.
hope you all have a wonderful rest of the evening because your day is almost done.
Have a good dream today.
Exactly. Good dreams.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
again.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.